Hi everyone, it's Leslie, and today I'm going to be talking to you about creating a bezel for a 27 by 9 millimeter Swarovski crystal rhinestone. That's this. And I like to make a full bezel for these rhinestones because they have a foil back. I'm going to take it out of here. I haven't glued it in yet, but I wanted to show it to you. It's got a foil back. So this is what I'm going to show you how to make today. A little boat for your Swarovski crystal rhinestone. These are really fun to make. So what have I got here for materials? I've got Delica beads. This is a palladium finish. This is number 38, size 11. I've got a tube of 15s, which we'll use around the edge. A number 10 needle, and about an arm's length and a half of KO beading thread in just a really neutral gray color. I like to use this for making bezels because it's a little stretchy and flexible. Fireline is so stiff that you need a little bit of maneuverability. I've also got a tube of glue here, which is what I'll show you at the end. GS Hypo Cement. I really like this. It has a nice precision point. And that's it. So basically what we're going to be doing today is doing peyote stitch with some increases. And this is shaped peyote, which is an interest of mine. This is how I pick up a lot of beads at once. I need a ring of 34 beads. And you can think about this as 15 per side, and then 2 at the top and the bottom, so we can do shaping and increasing. Let me count these out. Okay, I've got my 34 beads, and I'm going to make a circle with them. I like to go through 3 or 4 beads at the beginning instead of just one. And you should leave a long tail, about 10 inches or 10 or 12 inches, because we're going to be coming back and sealing up the back later. And we'll put another needle on there and sew the back with that. So I've got a nice long tail here. Okay. So to think about this, we're going to be doing one side. We're going to peyote on one side, and then we're going to increase in such a way that it will make the beads turn, because this bead is so tapered at the top. So the first thing I'm going to do is do 6 peyote. We have 7 peyote on a side. So we have 15 beads on a side. I like to do that minus 1, and then when I come around I can finish in the middle of the row. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm doing what I usually do, which is do some peyote stitches and then pull the thread through, which is not for everyone. Do whatever you feel comfortable with. Make sure they're all lined up. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we've got 2 beads at the end to increase. We're going to do 3 increases where we're going to go into the very next bead. This is going to force the beads to turn. At the top. Can you see that? 1. Go in the very next bead. Don't skip 1. It's a little bit awkward. You don't have to have it too tight. So that's what it's going to look like. You can pull it a little tighter later. And then we're going to do the 7 peyotes, regular peyote stitches up the other side. Now, I know how to do this because of trial and error with each different size of stone that I've tried. I've learned sometimes it takes 2, 3, 4 tries to figure out how many stones, how long, how wide it should be. But this is specifically for this Swarovski crystal rhinestone, which is 27 by 9. Have I got my 7? Let's see. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more. Okay, and then we're going to do the same increase on the other end. It's going to force it into this shape. Don't skip a bead, go in the very next bead. 1, 2, and 3. Give that a good tug. And then look to see if the beads are sitting between. Then you'll have 1 bead from the other side, 1 peyote stitch, and step up to the next row. So this is the beginning. 7 peyotes on a side, 3 increases at each end. Okay. It's a little awkward, but it's gonna shape up. So the next row we're just going to peyote around the whole thing, putting 1 bead in between each of the increases. This is just setting up our shape. Just keep going around. So just put 1 in between each up bead. That's how that end will look. And I will come back at the end of the row to show you how the end of the row will look. Okay, so that's the end of this row. This is what it'll look like. You'll have 2 beads at the top and 2 at the bottom, and you've got your side of plain peyote. So for this next row, we will be increasing. We've got 3 spaces at each end to increase into, and we're going to add 2 beads in each space. Okay. So here we go, we're at one end. We're going to add 2 in each of the 3 spaces on the end. This is it. This is the only real big increase. After that, we'll just be doing mostly peyoting around and closing it up. Okay, so I will come back at the end of this row to show you how it looks for the whole thing. Okay, this is how it's going to look at the end of the row, and you're going to see it's actually starting to cup up a little bit. Let's put our stone on here. We just need to keep going a bit more, but it's looking good. There's that clock. So for this next row, we're going to put 1 bead in between each of the increases that we did in the last row. Don't go through 2 there. So you're going to put 1 bead between the increase, peyote 1, a bead between the second increase, peyote 1, should probably pull that through, and a bead between the third increase, you're going to see this kind of starting to take a shape. So I will come in after I've done the other side and show you how the end of the row looks. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like at the end of this row, and you'll see it's starting to kind of curve on its own. It's starting to take some shape. That's looking very good. So this row, again, another plain peyote row, up the sides and around the top, 1 bead in each place. We are done with increasing. So now it's a matter of building it up. And then we'll basically use the 15 beads as a sort of a decrease to hold the stone in place at the end. One bead per space, and continue all the way around. Don't forget to step up, and I'll come back at the end of the row. Okay, it's looking good. That's what it looks like at the end of that row. Now if you think it's looking a little wide, we're going to go back and close up the back. Let's go ahead and do that. So thread the tail, turn it over, and bring your thread out. If you have to go through a couple of beads, that's okay. So it's right there at the edge of the first 2 beads we put on the one end. And basically we're going to peyote up in the middle. With our tail. This is the fun part. Okay, and when you reach the end, I like to just go through those 2 beads that were the original 2 on the end. Might have to do that separately. So to get your thread out to where it was at the other end. And then now we're going to zip this up. Peyote, zip it up. So go back through that bead, that last peyote bead, and you can close this up. Delicas are so nice because they sit so nicely together, and you can actually do this with confidence because you have the same, they're all the same size. So this is, you're just sewing in the bottom of your little boat. And when you get to the last one, go through that and then through one of the 2 original end beads. That's what it'll look like. And then you just want to take this thread and work it in. Take it up Go back and forth a few times, cross the threads, and then cut it off. And you've basically got this kind of little flat boat. Okay, now it's looking really like the right size for this stone, right? It's a little flat, so we're gonna go one more row of peyote around with these delicas, and it's gonna start cinching in and building up with this row and then the subsequent 2 rows. So go around one more time, pull it in a little tighter, and I'll show you what that looks like at the end of the row. Okay, now it's really starting to curve. If you pulled those ends a little tight, look how perfectly that sits in there. We are ready to cinch it a little tighter. So we're done with 11s. I've got some matching color 15s. So now you can lay your stone in there so you can really see what's happening. Hold on to it. And you're going to do 2 rows with this. And that's really going to hold the stone in place with these 15s. Just going to beautifully cinch it right in there. All right, so I will keep going around here, and I will come back at the end of this row. We'll do one last row together, and then I'll talk to you about gluing in the stone. Okay, so we've got our second row in there, and the stone is now really secure. Since I sell these, I don't want to take any chances with any stone coming out, so, and there can be a little bit of gapping on the side and moving around just because it's such a large stone. So the best thing to do is to loosen this last row up a little bit so you can get the stone out, because you're going to have to put it back in. And you don't need too much. I love this glue. It's got this fantastic little tiny point on it. So you can be really precise. It can help you if you break a bead sometimes, or with a lot of different things. Let's put that away. Now you have to put the stone back in. That can be a little bit trying. You let your needle help you a little bit. There. You need to move some beads out of the way. Now, make sure it's in kind of the right place. And you're going to go around that last row again and pull it tight. Don't add any new beads, just go around that row. So you're going to have a double thread in those last beads, and that's really going to reinforce this. You may have to switch to a smaller size needle, but it will pull this all extra tight at the end. This is what I do for all my bezeling work at the end. You can see it's a little harder because the beads are so small than it is to go through the first time. But I'm going to continue going around, and we'll have one last look right at the end. Okay, so we're finished. And that second time around, those beads made it really tight. Now the beads still move around a little bit in here, so get it really positioned perfectly and just let it set and let the glue dry. I usually let it dry overnight. and then it'll be ready to go for if you want to use it as a component in a bracelet. I usually sew a couple of links of chain to the top. I think it makes just a very chic earring. But that's it. Easy, right? Post some pictures, let me know how it goes, and if you have any questions. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.